Hey friends, it's Joe from DadBod. Today it's 76 degrees in Tokyo and it's about 5:12 in the morning. Today we have a Fartlek for 1 mile, which is a 2 minutes on, 1 minute off kind of workout. So let's get into it. Oh, by the way, my MooseABoot merch landed. So this is a dry fit. It's quite pleasant. I like it so far. We'll see how well it holds up today. It's shipped all the way from Canada to Japan. All right. So I'll start the workout once we get down the stairs. So, first of all, a couple things I'd like to discuss before we really get into this. I'm still not well. So I've had a lot of fatigue, stomach issues. I think we're on day 3 or 4 of being like, ugh. So I'm gonna start as a light jog walk as opposed to a run walk. So I'm just gonna pull the upper pace in. That said, I'm still kind of fatiguey, feverish. So I might turn this into a full walk for me, but I'll still have the stopwatch so I can kind of be that coach. You know, like that heavier, out of shape coach that would still blow a whistle and yell at you to do stuff. That's who I can be today. But I'll see if I could join with you. All right, so here we go. We're gonna start. Let's start with a one minute walk. So 3, 2, 1, boop. There we go. Let's begin. Oh man. But yeah, I guess this is a great slice of humble pie for me at the start of the program. Tell you what, man, I've been really demotivated to just show up and do partial exercises, show up and be a coach and record the content. Very tempted to quit the whole thing. They just say like, oh, I missed a workout, so DadBod's over. Like, all those really pernicious thoughts, super real to me right now. I mean, it makes sense. Like, it's day 33. Like, we're into the program, but we're not done with it. We still got a long ways to go. So all those doubts can just swirl and demotivate. And you might be navigating that as well, right? You've woken up sore and tired for couple weeks now, and you do glance at the mirror and you're like, nothing's changed, right? But maybe you've moved from push-ups on your knees to something else, right? You're getting there. All right, let's jog it. 2 minutes on. I'm gonna see if my body can snap into this one. But when I'm sick, I try to be super careful with cardio, and like, this is an important workout. Every workout's important. But I care a bit more about being ready for Monday. Right? I want to do that 3-mile long run with y'all. That's more of a priority for me. I care more about that 3 mile. So I'm willing to, see, I'm doing it right now. Willing to drop my pace. Willing to push less hard today so that my body's right in 3 days for the long run, right? It's that Coach Baldwin mentality, which we talked about, I think, 2 days ago. Whew, I almost slipped though. Of like, hey, things aren't right. We're not gonna push into injury. It does me no good to stay sick, but I can do some activity. 15 seconds. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and walk. Oh man, this whole morning, so much anxiety leading up to if I could just do that little 2-minute run we did. Just based on how my body feels, based on the fatigue, based on the doubt, based on sore hips. There's so much that just keeps us from doing the good things we want to do. And a lot of times it's really mindset over the body. You know what the body can do is important. Oh, look, a new tree. Timber. Trees be falling in here all the time. This is the second one I've seen down. Last one was like a year ago. 10 seconds. So find that edge of challenging for you. You're not sick, but you might have a bum knee. Here we go. And see, I want to run at this pace. I'm bringing it to this pace. I'm keeping it in my long distance trottle. Because I gotta protect myself. But I'm talking through this, I'm verbalizing it. Because you're gonna need to build similar discretion. You'll learn that every single exercise, every single workout, you're in a different spot. And the threshold of difficult or challenge you have to push to will be different depending on the body you're coming in with and the body you leave with. Whether that body's got really sore abs from the previous day's workout, or you picked up your kid and twisted the wrong way, so your back just ain't right, so you're feeling it catch. Or you wanted to throw up for the last 3 days because you're nauseous and you've suppressed it with Pepto-Bismol, but you're still fighting, you know? Like, everyone's coming in with a different body each day. We can still find the right intensity level. You got 20 seconds or so, you know. So some of you've already run 3 half marathons. You like this program? You like hanging out with me? Gosh, you're on your year and a half of hanging out with me, and you get to this workout, you're not sick, and you're like, Joe, you're not gonna believe it, let's walk. But I'm sprinting on those 2-mile runs, full intensity, full go, and then I'm doing my long distance running pace on the slow parts, because you have the cardio, you have the strength, and you can really use the fartlek to push it. And plus you look at the workout and you're like, it's just a mile. That's easy. So you make it about speed today and really challenge yourself. All those things are good. Or you're dying. We're 0.3, 0.4 miles in, and you're just warring with yourself about why you chose to do this and why you're still here. Stay in that fight. Win that fight, it'll be good. Also, another quick vulnerability thing. Something that happens in my mind that you're probably not aware of. And we'll get started, a little jog. We're already at 7 minutes. You're doing great. But let me frame it in a story. I like stories. Stories are great. 5 a.m. stories, here we go. So, when I was in high school, I was a member of what we call worship team on our church. So, I didn't really grow up in the church. And then maybe late in 8th grade, I started attending like youth group because they had basketball and pizza. And I learned a little bit about Jesus, but it's really the basketball and pizza in the early days that retained my interest, like any good high schooler. Feel free to comment if that's how you attended church as a kid in the 90s. But actually that was early 2000s. I'm feeling it. Challenging. What are we telling a story about? Hey, that's new. Good framing, y'all. That was quick. Japanese framing's awesome. Okay. 45 seconds. We're almost at the turnaround. Pretty close.
We hit the turnaround. Okay. I can talk again. So anyway, as part of worship team, I started learning bass. Walk. There you go. Sorry. Doing too much all at once. We went 8 seconds over. Bummer. We don't get that 8 seconds back. I'm so mean. So I joined worship team. I was playing bass. Wasn't any good, right? But the group encouraged me to join. And eventually I started to develop an ear for music. Learned bass, guitar, drums, all that. And when you're playing a set of music with a group of other musicians who are talented, over time you start to develop what I would call like a critical ear. So basically, you know every time when what you played is off the mark. Yeah, a lot of times you can hear when someone else in the band is off the mark as well. 1 second. Keep it up. I don't know if you notice, my pace is increasing a little bit. I'm not feeling too bad, but I am being careful. But you develop this critical ear, right? And you can become super harsh on yourself when you're on stage and you hit a couple wrong notes, your rhythm's off, you derail the vocalist, right? You notice these things. But for the 90% of people who aren't musicians, 95% of people maybe, and they're at church just trying to worship God, listen to the music you're playing, right? Like for them, those little mistakes, they float right over the top. Like they don't have the ear for it. They're not paying attention to it. They're just trying to engage the experience, right? You know, so if we take it out of a church context, if you're playing a live set at a bar with a couple friends and you're worried because you don't have the lyrics perfectly memorized or hit a couple notes, like your early background music at the bar, right? People are talking to their friends. So like holistically, if the band doesn't crash, go ahead and walk. Ooh, that pace is pretty varied. If the band doesn't crash and burn, no one's gonna notice. I'm getting to the point. Okay, like this week I've felt sickly. This week I've had doubts. This week I haven't shown up bubbly and engaging. Or a couple of workouts this week happened while like all the kids were up and my wife was up. In those situations, I don't talk as much. Reason being is like I don't want my kids flooded with noise. Oh, that's a big spider. I don't want them to wake up flooded with noise and distraction. I don't want my wife starting her day like overstimulated with me being a fitness coach, right? So for me, I feel like those days stack of like losing your engagement. Let's jog it out. Losing engagement. I'm not a good trainer. I'm not helpful, you know? Or like I'm sickly. I'm feeling social pressure. I normally don't record in front of my wife whenever I do any of my content, even though I love her. But you all probably didn't notice any of that. For you, it's just another day with Joe. Oh, there's Joe. He's whining about his push-ups. Oh, there's Joe. He really hates planks. I wish he would stop singing Disney songs. You know? But for me, as a creator, oh man, it's struggle bus. It is so hard to show up in that. And so hard to show up for you. because I think I don't belong in the band. I think what I'm putting out there is not that great. I naturally exclude myself. And I do the same thing at my job. It's that whole darn imposter syndrome.
Distance 1 mile.
Yeah!
Time 14 minutes and 4 seconds.
There we go.
Sprint pace 14 minutes, 3 seconds.
Hey,
per
14
mile.
minutes. 14 minutes for a mile is not bad, friends. That is not bad at all. Especially being sick on a run walk. Oh, that is lovely. Whew. You know, so the reason I share this is probably 2 points. And one of them, so I don't have to talk about something anymore. Like, I am a father first. Well, husband first, father second. And I want to curate the best fitness program possible for all of you. But, and there's the big butt, right? Hopefully there's not a big gnarly spider down here for our reflection. I want to curate the best fitness program for you possible. But on days when I'm sick, or days when all my kids are up and functional, I'm gonna be a different kind of, we'll say entertainer, coach, whatever. And I just want you to know why. In case for some reason you can detect the difference in me. Oh my gosh, these mosquitoes are gonna eat me alive.
Workout paused.
In case you can detect the difference, all right, there's a reason for it. I'm actively choosing to talk to you less and engage you less in your journey because I don't want my kids to feel second. And sometimes I just can't wake up early enough. Sometimes they wake up earlier. There's overlap. Sometimes I can include them in my workout. Sometimes they're just on the TV. But as soon as I shut it down, I'm definitely like full in dad mode. But as a, and I hate to use this language, as a performer, when I'm recording content and creating an experience, that's hard, right? I think it might be the same for you, right? You're on a Zoom. This is supposed to be a quiet meditation. I'm just gonna talk because it helps me. But you might be on a Zoom, kids run into the room, right? And you want to emote a certain way in a certain climate, but you also have to be a parent, and that's pretty tough, right? So I'm learning to live in that tension with all of you. But I share these things out of vulnerability because when it stacks day after day, like this week has just been hard with waking up late, not being able to work out the way I intended, being sick, doing half a program, insecurity, recording and talking in front of an audience in my house, my wife, you know, like all these things. If that keeps stacking day after day, it's really hard for me to show up and not quit this thing. And I just got to trust that it's helpful. And I got to trust that you can still show up and do your workout and get the best health you can get and continue to stay towards your goals, even if I'm not perfect, which we both know is true. I'm just speaking that because it helps me release that insecurity. I'm never going to be perfect for you. I'm never going to be perfect as a dad or a husband or an engineer at Johnson & Johnson, but I can show up, right? And today's a great example of just showing up. We ended up jogging when we didn't think we could jog. I don't feel like I'm going to die, which is great. Tomorrow, maybe we do 2 sets instead of 3 sets again, take a rest day on Sunday, and just trust that on Monday we can show up and run 3 miles. And if we don't, or if I don't, I need to be able to relinquish accountability to you to go the mile extra that you can go. Because I'm where I'm at and you're where you're at, right? But a couple weeks from now, we might be flipped where I'm super hot and you're not. Let me know in the comments. Let me know where you're at, you know, so we can continue to motivate each other on this journey. All right, let me give you a little bit of quiet reflection. I'll kind of process that and we'll close up for the day. Great work. Whew.
All right. Well, that was fun, y'all. Thanks for being here with me in this experience. Hope you enjoyed my not mental breakdown, but my reflection of what I'm going through. I really appreciate all you and all the work you're doing. Day 34 is tomorrow, so rest up. Do your moose stretch, whichever one you're supposed to do. I think it's A. It's A or B. And I will see you again. Have a good one, friends.